So, a preface. This is hopefully going to be a precursor episode to a podcast that I will be hosting with a few friends. I don't know if you probably haven't seen a YouTube channel called Shut Up Levi. He is one of my good friends, and hopefully I'll be able to get him on this podcast sometime soon. He's someone I'd love to just have long conversations with. And one of the few people that I like having long conversations with besides myself, which is what this episode is going to be. So, I guess I'll start. I'm 16 years old, and I'm gonna be talking about politics. So, if you don't want to listen to that, and you don't want to hear a 16-year-old liberal's opinion on the political state of America right now, then you should just go look somewhere else, because that's what I'm going to be talking about. I guess I'll start with how I am involved politically, I guess. My family's been pretty open about politics. My father especially, he's a fairly liberal man, especially for his age. Most people who are in their middle age are much more conservative than that. And he's always been pretty open. He's been very willing to talk to me about who he votes for, why he votes that way, how he feels about what's going on in the United States, and what's going on around the world. And so I always felt that it was important to be informed about what was happening and know what America is going to be like when I'm old enough to really experience it and be affected by it. And so, especially with the last election, I could realize how important it is to stay aware of what's going on, because as a 16-year-old, I was beginning to realize in 2 years I'm going to be able to vote. And I feel a responsibility as someone who is going to go out and vote, because my parents stress that importance to me, that I need to be informed and I need to make a good decision based on knowledge, even if maybe it's what I originally thought I would be voting against or wouldn't agree with, but I need to have the knowledge to make sure my vote is an informed vote regardless of what party or who it's for. And so I really tried to follow the news and stay on top of everything and kind of get daily updates on what's going on. I had an economics teacher who was very involved in politics and also quite willing to discuss it, and a large group of friends who are very willing to discuss politics. And I do see the issue with that people might bring up, is that it's an echo chamber in a way. Especially when you're talking with people who share your same political views, it can often be an echo chamber. But that's why I tried to really expand what I saw online, just beyond the normal liberal political sphere, and see what the conservatives were saying. And normally that's quite easy, really, because I'd done that in the past. But I found it much more difficult during this election, and I do think I know why. I think it's because during this election we began to start attacking people instead of maybe policies or ideas, and not the opinions that people stood for, but who the people are themselves. And both parties are responsible for this. Obviously, the biggest things people can think of is Donald Trump and all of his statements towards specific people, mocking a disabled reporter, and all of these very specific insults, just directly attacking people. But liberals as a whole are quite, responsible for doing this as well. I've seen a lot of times where, and of course, before I say what I was going to say, there is a rise in white supremacy and Nazism in America. That is an issue. There is a big problem with that. That's not okay. But it's also not okay to call your next door neighbor, who is a conservative, because she wants veterans to get more respect and have more care in her country, and is just more willing to go to war. It's not okay to call someone who just supports the conservatives a Nazi. That's not an okay comparison to make. That is attacking someone personally, and you don't know what they've been through. If they've had families who have been impacted by that, or anything like that, you have no clue. And so I think that's what made trying to focus on both halves of the political spectrum a little bit more difficult during this last election, because it's hard to watch people who you agree with be attacked not for what they believe in, but for who they are as people. And I think that's something, obviously it's been seen before. This isn't something super new in elections. I mean, this has been going back all the way to John Adams' presidency. His presidential race was full of slurs towards other candidates. It was constant. So this isn't something new, but it's hard to try and listen to someone and listen to what they have to say when what they have to say is you as a person don't matter because of who you are, I guess, is, I think, the biggest deal. Honestly, kind of as of how things are right now, yeah, I don't know. Things are not in the best state right now, I gotta say. There's been a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of policies that have been made, but I think the biggest thing is people don't see us fighting back. I say us as in liberals, such as the Women's March and everything, don't see that as useful. And to me, that just kind of blows my mind, because I don't know how else. People say, that's not going to do anything, that's not going to change anything. Like, who cares? He is your president now. It doesn't matter. You can't change anything through these rallies. But that is how you change things. That's how civil rights, the entire civil rights movement happened. It's how you change things. You protest, you go to rallies, you show what you believe in, you make signs, and you fight against injustice in America. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we believe in. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if your pursuit of happiness, or your life, or your liberty are being attacked, then you fight back, you fight against that. And that is not useless. That is important. That is so important for so many people. And even if you are not directly being affected, to go out there and support those people, or post things online that support your people without directly attacking another person, that is so important. Because that makes them feel like they are valued in a society that may not value them. And that the importance of that cannot be, like, understated. Whew, that was a long little rant there. Okay. I can assure you, hopefully, every episode of this will not be as political as this one was. This is just kind of an intro. I'm sure there will be a lot of politics. We are all very political people who would enjoy discussing it. I'm sure there will be a lot of memes and a lot of much more fun stuff in the following episodes of this podcast. So this has been Cole, and this has been a very political 9 minutes. Godspeed.